right, everybody. Welcome on in to the hot corner where the Giants get swept. And Greg says, hey, Dan, please don't wear that Mets cap. Okay, Greg, I won't. Anyway, Giants lose it again. They lose tonight by a score of 5-3. We'll break it all down. It's Hot Corner with Giant Sports Talk Live and NorCal Sports come together every Sunday night. This time a little later tonight at 8:45, but thank you for your patience. And hey, before, let us thank some sponsors of the show. That would be Chapman Law Group for NorCal Sports Network. Chapman Law Group for all your legal needs. Give Chapman Law Group a call, 415-613-9483. You got a personal injury situation? Give them a call. The call's free. The consultation's free. Let them represent you, and you don't have to settle with an insurance company and lose thousands of dollars. Leave it on the table. All right. So, guys.
Hey, over on Giant Sports Talk Live, creditcards.com is the featured sponsor. They're in for another year. Our anniversary over on that show is coming up next week. So they've signed up for another year, and you can check out our show most nights, 7 days a week, usually, or I should say now 6 days a week. We team up here, and you can find our subsidiary sponsors on board there if you tune into our show. So I had to give a shout out. We always do to our major sponsor because, Dan, without the sponsors, guys don't realize in the chat, it costs money. I just got the renewal the other day for the StreamYard and the website and I'm like, I got the little hat with the green peak on. I'm like, cha-ching, cha-ching. So thanks to all of our sponsors.
It adds up.
All right, Dan.
It definitely does. All right, guys, Giants lose it, get swept by the New York Mets. I was expecting a sweep today. I really was. When I saw the pitching matchup was an opener versus Kodai Senga. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to fare well. But Matt Chapman hits two bombs off Senga. Senga left him right in his swing path where Chapman loves him. And Chapman didn't miss. And he actually, Giants were down. Or did that put the Giants up 1-0? Yeah, put the Giants up 1-0. And then they were down 2-1. And then Chapman put them up with a 2-run homer. That was a clutch hit by Chapman. But we'll talk a little bit about Chapman tonight, guys. I'm going to pull up some stats off of Fangraphs to show you Chapman's numbers with high leverage situation versus low leverage situations. And it's pretty dramatically different. So it'll explain why Chapman doesn't come through like in the last inning tonight and with runners in scoring position. And the Giants were 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position in this series. Guys, give us your takes on it. Start with you, Glenn. What do you say?
Well, I was over there at Oracle Park last night, Dan, and again today. I'm with you. When I saw the pitching match we were doing our show last night, I said, come on, guys. You got Senga, who's got a sub-2 ERA. When you're talking bullpen games, it's sort of, I call those throwaway games. I'm like, you kind of hope for something, to magically materialize out of nothing. And, the Giants, they stuck around in this game. But I think in all aspects of the team, they are weak. This is a flawed team. I've said that for a couple of weeks now. There are people who come on our show and they say, including my co-host, who's not with us tonight, by the way.
Eric is on assignment. He's actually
on assignment. That's right.
He's on assignment tonight.
But Eric's, he's the positive of the two on our channel, and you get guys who are talking about the pitching, the defense, like Eric. I go, well, we're not getting the pitching right now. We don't really even have a full pitching staff, and the defense is leaving a lot to be desired. I don't know what you guys talked about last night as far as Ramos. I don't know what it is. He just can't field his position. He can't bend over to pick up a ball. It better be in the air because he's having a hard time picking it up off the ground. And some of them in the air, he's not getting not very good routes. Yesterday at first base, my God, it was a clown show. Oh my God, I felt bad. I felt bad for Devers. And when he did make a play to end an inning, he'd run off the field. He was tapping his chest. His heart was beating. He's like, just get me out of here. And the hitting, we all know the hitting has been flawed. A couple of times at the park today. It wasn't just me for a change. Everybody around me in 324. There were a couple of instances with one out, ducks on the pond, and in trots Bailey, and they're all going, oh, this is not going to end well. So anyway, that's how I sum it up. We are flawed in all aspects of the game, and the fact we got swept didn't surprise me at all. I was hoping for a win, to be honest with you, and I thought that would have came on Friday night. Or possibly yesterday, and I figured after down 2-0 in the series, I didn't see a bullpen game winning today. They didn't. Later on in the show, I know you guys want to talk about potential trades, who we bring in, and I don't know. Do we really even have that? How are you going to get players when you don't have players? And guys are talking to me on our show, and Eric, about, all you got to do is give up players in your farm system. Well, first of all, the very few in our farm system we should keep, because I don't want to give up the future for this mismatch of a season. I think you're in a dream world if you're thinking we're planning parades on King this year. Come on, get real. This has got to be. That's why the hot corner, and I know on NorCal and especially on Giant Sports Talk Live, we like to live in a little reality and tell it like it is. This is not a team built for the postseason. They're picking and scratching now. They're chasing their tail. Did you see who was up in the top of the batting order again today? Why? Oh, because he had a big game yesterday. This is what flawed teams do. They're trying to pull out the Farhan Tandy and let's see. Computer says he have a 4 for. We should move him to. This is flawed. Lou, what say you? Before I get more wound up.
Two prime examples of a playoff contender and a team that is got a good shot to win the World Series, and then a bunch of homers and dreamers that think they're going to be in the third wild card. The Giants cannot hold the Mets jock. The Mets have better hitters. If you notice the trade they made, that guy came in from Baltimore, and the Giants had no chance. I think he came in the 7th inning. It was 1, 2, 3. Thanks for coming. The Giants, me and Dan have been talking about this. We haven't had an offense all season. We have nobody that can hit in the clutch. And we have 2 1/4 pitchers. We told you the pitching was going to start fading. We now find out that they're bringing up Wisenhunt to go tomorrow. Everyone, all these people on Homer's KMBR, Bill Lasky's show, and other podcasts say, "Oh, we're playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's won 5-1, but they're not scoring runs." Sorry, look, they're coming in 5-1. They're probably going to beat us tomorrow because they have a much better pitcher, a guy that I would love for the Giants to get. And the thing with the Giants is this now 4 years, a week of the trade deadline. We're not going to do anything. We're stuck with what we have. The only good thing I know is I tried to make my tee times on September 29th because I'm going to have 40 guys that are on the Giants 40-man roster that are trying to get tee times just like me. Because September 28th is the last day of the season. We're not going anywhere. This team is flawed. What we said last night, we have 4 huge contracts. And we have guys that don't really have potential. We maybe have one guy – and Devers who we could build a team around, but come on, guys. Adames is who we've been saying he is all season. Okay. Lee, he has one game. People are blaming, oh, well, it should have been a homer in 26 ballparks. Well, sorry, it's not. He plays in all ballpark. Tell the guy to hit it 5 feet to the right. Okay. Second of all, the thing about the Giants, it's the same thing for 3 years. Our offense is horrible. Either we can't score with runner scoring position, we strike out too much, and we have nobody that can hit in the clutch, and what are we going to do?
Other than that, we're pretty solid, right, Lou?
Yeah. And Glenn, I think you brought up a point. We keep saying, let's make moves. And I've been hearing all this about Quan, but who would Cleveland want on our team? Who would they want? We're not going to trade Webb because the Giants don't have balls. We're not going to trade Ray. Quan, first of all, is a great left fielder, right? And he can hit, and he's an offensive guy, and he's got an above-average arm. You're going to have to give up probably 2 players from the major leagues to get him because we only have one guy in the minors, so we're not going to get him. So stop dreaming. I don't know what it is, these Giants fans. I don't know if it's the air, if everyone is upset because we haven't had sun out at all, at least where I live every day, we don't have anyone that anybody wants. I mean, just look at the guys. Do you think people would take the Adames trade Adames in his contract? No.
Nope.
Do you think they would take Lee's contract?
Nope.
On a trade? No. Okay.
Chapman?
Oh, no.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Devers?
Devers?
Nope.
No. So we're stuck with them. And and look at the other guys that were in today. Do you think anybody else would make a trade for Yaz?
For what? Why do they want Yaz?
Bailey.
Nobody wants these guys.
Wisely. We have guys that are 4A players. That's all we have.
Lou,
that's
they
why
want
this
two
team's
guys.
Going nowhere.
They want 2 or 3 guys from the Giants. They want Eldridge, or they want Webb, or they're interested in a Roop. Some teams may be still or probably interested in Birdsong, figuring they can turn him around because he's young and he's got a healthy arm. So those are the guys that the Giants have to trade. Nobody wants Matt Chapman in his contract, Willie Adames in his contract. Guys, I'm here. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but the Giants right now have put themselves in a predicament where they've got Chapman, Adames, and Devers locked up for after this season, 5 years for Chapman, 6 for Adames, and 8 for Devers, and you got Lee for potentially 4 more years. And that's your top contracts, those 4 guys, and then you've got Logan Webb. Why this team is stuck is because they never picked a lane. Now the lane they are picking is guys with veterans that are I'm not going to include Devers as a guy that's fading. He's a hitter. He's hurting. He's in a new ballpark. He might not be in the right ballpark, but this is the problem with the Giants. They want to try and make trades to get younger guys. They don't have anybody to get younger. So you might as well just go spend money. You know what? Go spend money because you're locked into these guys for the next 5 years. So you know what? Spend as much money as you can and get as many high-priced guys in here that you can and go for it. And then when they're all done and their time's up, you move off of them and you rebuild it. I think it's a 10-year situation where the Giants will not see the National League Championship Series, I will say, for 10 years. Why? Because I don't think the guys they have right now, they all strike out. I don't think they're good enough, and they're going to get older, and they're going to regress even more. Chapman's swing is going to slow down in a couple years, and he's missing balls now. Look, Chapman, he got 2 today. Give him credit. But he's easy to get out if you pitch him right. He gets his big hits off pitchers' mistakes when pitchers don't put it where they want it. And it's a mistake, and it's left right down the middle, just below the letters, and Chapman's, that's his swing path, just boom, he gets it. But they are not built to win with this lineup. Why? Been saying it, and nobody else picks up on this. They all strike out 25% of the time. You can't win games. Why do they score 3 runs or less? Tonight was game number 51, guys. 51 out of 105, 3 runs or less. Why? Because they cannot consistently move the line. Because why do they go 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position? We saw it again tonight. Bailey strikes out. Wisely strikes out. They got too many hitters that strike out. You cannot sustain a rally. If you get 2 walks, or you get a walk and a hit, and you get a runner in scoring position, you get like, oh, hey, wow, we got a rally going. But you know what? Look at your lineup. Somebody's going to kill it. Who's going to? Every now and then, somebody's going to hit the big 3-run homer, and the Giants are going to win a game 6-3. Okay, 6-4, It's going to happen, but that's few and far between. You can't have 7 players in your lineup striking out 25% of the time, and Jung-Hoo Lee is 10%, and then Dom Smith's a little lower, and Flores is lower. So when those guys are in the lineup, it's lower. But 7 of the 9 guys, it's a horribly constructed roster.
Absolutely. And I like watching, I don't know about you guys, I'm keeping an eye on the chat. Anything pertinent comes up. Hope you don't mind when I throw it in. A couple of people, I see Jill has said, Raffy's going to be a nightmare at first base. Maybe one of you want to talk about that. I certainly did last night on the show. I thought it was a clown show last night. I could not comprehend. I can understand, people want to see him at first base, and that was the big issue in Boston. But you're playing the Mets, and you're not winning, by the way. Post All-Star game, you can't seem to put wins on the board. So why would you put Wilmer Flores at DH and Devers at first base? It's almost like Little League. It's like, you were here at the ballpark first, so you can play that position. Wilmer's a better first baseman than Devers. And if you were at the ballpark like I was yesterday, you would have clearly seen it. He was having palpitations. He couldn't wait to get off the field after actually making a play. He was rolling the ball to first base, saying, maybe I can get over there and pick it up and touch the base before they get. It was a clown show. And then I see the one thing about chats, and I'm sure you guys face this on a nightly basis too. When people come in, I hate when they throw out, the negativity toward us. And but they don't really expand on their thoughts. So I see Tony C is constantly coming in with stuff here. The philosophy changes by the show. Well, what is your philosophy? Stop, pick, and tell us what you think for a change. I want to hear thoughts, not just negativity. And we can be negative because I think we're simply telling it like it is. I agree with Lou. I agree with Lou. The problem is you get teams that, if you want to make a trade at the All-Star or the trade deadline, which is quickly approaching, guys, we're only a few sleeps away and it'll be here and gone. Do you think, first of all, we don't have the purse, we don't have the piggy bank full of players to make deals? They're calling other teams. And that's a problem I think is going to be the big focus on trade deadline day, is the fact that other teams are willing to move certain players, but they're going to move them to other teams, not us.
Correct. They have better prospects, other teams.
Better dance partners around me. There are people are throwing out some names like Quan, and I've heard O'Neill Cruz. Come on, O'Neill Cruz. Who do we have to pitch? We'd have to give about 9 of our. We'd have to give up everything to get an O'Neill Cruz. We'd have to throw in a couple of players off the roster, and we'd have to give minor leaguers, and then you got the people. See, that's the thing. Do you guys not see the problem with philosophies? The problem, we get people in the chat who one day to the next trade all these minor leaguers. Yeah, but 2 weeks ago, you're the same one saying, we haven't had a minor league system in years. Let's just build that. Again, I think it's not just the fans. It's the team, the fans, everybody. Get in a lane. Come on, get in a lane and decide what you want to do. And I think we should be building for the future, not for this September run, because I don't think there will be one, guys.
Look, they don't have enough pitching to get anywhere. Look, here's what's going to happen with the Giants over the next 56 ball games. They don't have the arms. They're going to throw out guys that are going to be getting knocked out of the game in the 4th, 5th inning. The bullpen's going to get more tired. By September, these guys are going to be all wiped out. The bullpen is going to be wiped out. Look at Randy Rodriguez tonight. Gives up 2 home runs. Why? Because he pitched yesterday and he can't pitch 2 days in a row. Randy Rodriguez, we saw why he doesn't pitch 2 days in a row, and everybody wants to make him the closer. Great stuff. But you can't be the closer if you're not available 2 games in a row.
Yeah, but Dan, I had a question. Why would you throw Duvall on Friday night in a 6-1 ball game in the 9th inning?
I don't understand that either.
Do we got to give him some work? Well, how about give him some work when we actually need him?
Yeah. I want to pull up a comment here from
mismanagement.
Coach Carharan Johnson's name dropping Matt Chapman every time is ridiculous. Well, let's talk about Chapman. He had a good game. He hit 2 bombs, was responsible for all 3 Giants runs batted in. But I want to show you guys something that actually will make a little more sense why I talk about Matt Chapman, because my eyes always tell me he doesn't come through in the clutch. And I was like, why doesn't he come through in the clutch? Is it my – and take a look at this. This is Matt Chapman in a high leverage situation in 2000.
Dan, would that be like later than the 7th inning and a chance where his hit might be the winning hit? Is that sort of what high
Well,
leverage
we've got
would
to
be?
we can go situational. This is leverage. This is batted ball. And he strikes out. Where did I pull this up here? Hold on. Where was my? Hold on here. This is all screwed up here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. This stat, batted balls in play by Matt Chapman in high leverage situation for this year, hitting 182. 182, high leverage.
Oh,
now, if we move over to low leverage situation, Matt Chapman is hitting 299. So 117 points less in high leverage situations. If we go into situational batting, in a situational with the bases empty, Matt Chapman BAP 286 this year, with min in scoring 245. 245. So min on base, a little better, 289. But this is a situation where I've been saying Chapman doesn't come through in a lot of clutch situations. Tonight, he struck out twice. Did he strike out twice or 3 times tonight? Matt Chapman tonight
3 times. 3
2
times.
home runs and 3 strikeouts. Yeah.
And
So,
Dan, what? Oh, sorry.
In a key situation late in the ball game too. Big K there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, when you see Chapman strike out, it's the exact same pitch every single time. The high
just
strike.
put it inside or outside. Just don't put it in
Yeah.
the heart of the plate, because that's his only spot. That's his swing path. That's where he swings at one spot. And you don't see Matt Chapman. You ever see Matt Chapman go down like low and outside and just reach and pop it into the outfield over the infielder's head or anything like that?
Or
Never.
Oppo.
No.
And Dan, I'm going to say something that you brought up 1 month ago, and you said it 7 times, and nobody in the chat said, Dan, you're nuts. Tonight, what happened in the 9th inning is going to happen the rest of the season. When there's 2 guys on and Devers has a chance, they're going to intentionally walk him. Why? You have Adames behind him, and you have Chapman. In the 9th inning, I don't know what it is, but for Adames, like in the 9th inning, he's always like 0-2. He's always upset at the calls. It's sort of his own fault because he didn't swing at the first pitch. He struck out tonight. And then, of course, Chapman, 1, 2, 3. And, the thing about the Giants is in clutch situations, Devers is the only guy that teams are actually scared of because they know he can hit the bad pitch, the inside pitch, a ball can bounce, and he can beat him. He's going to be walked, just like you said, like they did Bonds. They're going to let anybody else beat us except Devers. And when you take Devers out of this lineup, we already know how bad he is because when you look at it, you got Adames, Chapman, and Yaz. And then that's nothing. That doesn't scare anybody. And then with Bailey and Wisely, it's like it's almost like we have 2 pitchers batting, almost 2 automatic outs from them. And, it's just to the point. Now, here's the thing tonight I wanted to bring up. It looked like tonight the Giants are hitting good. Does anybody know how many hits the Giants got for the game? What do you think? 8, 9, 10?
They got 6 hits.
I thought it was
6
six
hits.
hits tonight, Lou.
6 hits. That's it.
Lou, and in the eighth inning, there were only 3 players in the lineup who had a hit.
Yeah.
There were offers. How did that end up, Dan? If you want to check the stats,
Yeah,
how many
they were-
players actually got hits?
Yeah,
Only
so
3 in
that's-
the 8th, and then of course
And then
we were getting guys on late. I know somebody got a hit in the 9th, and then there was some. I think
Lee was 0 for 3, Ramos 0 for 3, Devers 0 for 4. So 0 for 10, the top 3 guys. Adames 2 for 3. He looked decent at times. Look, Adames and Chapman, I get on both of them. They are who they are. They're going to get hits at times, but they're going to strike out a lot. And so you got Adames and Chapman striking out. Chapman struck out 3 times, Adames once, and he just, clutch situation. What I don't understand is 2 strikes, why these guys don't shorten up and just try and foul it off.
Contact.
Just do something. How you sit there with the bat in your hand, with the game on the line, is unbelievable to me.
But with all due respect, Dan, I see where you're going on that plane. But in the same line of thinking, every night I'm sitting in Oracle Park and you watch Bailey swing. It's like Bailey can't hit, and all he's trying to do is make contact. So he's getting some nice line shots out to the outfield, but they're all caught. And occasionally, I always say on our show, the blind squirrel finds that nut, boys. He finds that nut, and it's a big day. But they're pretty damn few and far between. And the problem where you say, I agree with you. The bats, Chapman, Adames, Devers, they can come alive. But do you remember about a month ago, I was telling you the problem with this team is you can't hide the ineptness. If they have a good game and they get on base, who's driving them in? Who's driving them in? We're not consistent enough hitting to get the guys aboard and then in. We can't do both. And if the whole team shuts down, you face good pitching, and I'm seeing it tonight, 3 hits, 4 hits. I mean, it gets ugly after a while. And we're supposed to have a pitch. Were we not supposed to have a team that could pitch and play defense? And that was like, that's going to win us ball game. We're not even getting that anymore.
Told you guys in May, if you're watching Norcal Sports Network, I said, what's the number one need of this team? I said, it's going to be starting pitching. Everybody says, we need hitting. Yeah, you need hitting, but your pitching is going to run out. And once your pitching is done, you're done, because you don't have enough hitters. And you could go out. This team needs at least 2 hitters and 2 starting pitchers. It's not going to happen.
They need too much right now, Dan. They need too much.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen. It's time.
You're filling holes. It's like, the dam's got holes in it. They're trying to plug too many holes, man, to keep it from
time
floating.
to punt. Time to punt.
Yep.
The season is. Are they technically still alive? Absolutely, because the third wild card gives you false hope. It makes you feel like you're a playoff team. Look, they're 2 games over 500 now, guys. They're
T's job.
The Giants are 2 games over 500. They're 54 and 52, and they're 2 games behind Cincinnati now, and they're 3 behind San Diego. So can they catch both of those? Yes. St. Louis is a half game behind them, but they're no player. The Diamondbacks are behind them. They're not playing. The Marlins aren't playing. So you know what? The Giants are going to go for it this year. And the reason they're going to go for it is because it's one of the worst years around. You got Miami is technically still alive, but they're probably not going to be able to sustain what they're doing, their winning streaks. So the Giants and Reds and Padres are going to fight for one spot. And when you look at it that way, you go, well, it's a chance to get in. Okay, how are you going to get in? If you want to play the game to get in, you go out and you get a couple of veteran pitchers that are guys like they're old, but Charlie Morton, Zach Eflin, a Merrill Kelly, or a Zach Gallen. You go out and try and get 2 of those guys, and you don't give up a lot. You give up guys that are never going to be here in San Francisco anyway, most likely. So that's how you try to push yourself in, and then you try to go get a bat, all right? But if you give up anything of value, you're probably going to regret it someday. If you
You're
give up
cutting your legs out. I don't know why you would want to play for this year and go, yeah, maybe we just get in. Let's just play for the future and build
Well,
a
the problem
solid
is-
freaking ball club.
they should sell, but the problem is, I think, Glenn, they've made their bed. They got a lie in it. They got too many older guys with contracts. They got Chapman, Adames, Devers, and Lee. Not all of them are old, but they got 4 guys under contract that are their everyday players. So they only have 5 other positions that are of value, where you can put somebody. You're not going to bench any one of those 4 guys I just mentioned. They're all playing.
Yep.
So now what do you got to do? You got to go find a way. And then, Eldridge is a possibility to come up. If Eldridge comes up and he plays first base in mid-August and you move Devers to the DH, back to the DH, now you've got 5 guys that relatively can hit at times, and other times, obviously, they're not. But they're stuck. They can't move Adames. They can't move Chapman. They can't move Devers. So I don't know what they're actually going to do in the situation. I would say in a normal year where there are 2 or 3 other teams fighting for a wild card, you kind of just go, not going to make it. And I don't think they're still going to make it. But the bottom line is they are, and Cliff nails it right here. Worst thing that happened to this team was 2021, set them way back because they never did a full rebuild. And they thought after 21, they could run it back with Crawford and Belt and make
And then they started chasing, those guys that, I'm against. Those guys that have had their years. Like, why would you bring Evan Longoria here?
Yeah, and they tried to bring McCutcheon and they
try to relive the glory of yesterday. We can milk a little more out of them. But look at today's lineup. And I don't understand why. Is it just me? Maybe you guys have a little flicker of hope, Dan and Lou and chat, but I can't understand, especially the chat. A lot of people here are saying that we're crazy and, it's a crapshoot. We can get in and it just takes one deal. Look at today's lineup. If I go backwards, Wisely's a filler. He's a filler. Like, does he have any business being out there? No. To me, no. He's a filler. Bailey, his defense has been lacking and he can't hit. Dominic Smith, another filler. He's just a filler. We know what we get from Yastrzemski, correct, guys? So there's 4. Ramos is having trouble fielding. We don't know what we get day to day from Lee. I like Lee. You can go 4 for 5 or you can go 0 for 5. I don't know. Devers, he struggled mightily, I think. Do you guys think it's been a disappointment? Well, what we've seen so far from him, I thought I'd see more. Adames and Chapman have the capability of putting something together almost daily if you're lucky. They can do it. But Wisely, Bailey, Smith, Yastrzemski, there are a lot of holes in this team. Why you think we have a team? That is not a team. We got 3 or 4 players. That's all we got. We got too many holes. Agree or disagree?
Go ahead, Lou.
Before I comment on that, I just wanted to bring up one thing today. The bottom of the second for the Giants and the top of the third is the difference between a team 19 games over and a team 2 games over 500. The Giants had runners at first and third with 1 out. They have their bottom of the lineup. What happens? Bailey strikes out. Wisely strikes out. Nice inning. You go to the Mets. They get runners at first and third, 1 out. They get a ground ball. They actually make contact on the infield for a fielder's choice. They score. So instead of you maybe being up 1-0 at home, getting the crowd, the Mets, they shut you down. They come back. They get their 1 run. And really, that was a big change. Because if you notice this whole homestand, the Giants always seem to be down every time, except for when Schmidt hit the second homer to go up 3-2. I knew the Mets were going to come back because I go, who are the Giants bullpen's going to be? So I just wanted to bring that up. The other thing, you bring up a good point about our hitting thing, but the problem with the Giants is we still cannot hit lefties. And when pitchers come in and they see Glenn's Giants lineup, these pitchers go, great, I'm getting a win. Unlike Verlander, when he pitches against any other team, he's not getting the win. Completely different. That's why everyone's saying, oh, we're playing Pittsburgh. We'll probably be lucky to score 2 runs tomorrow because we're going against an above-average pitcher. This guy's good. This is a guy I'd love to trade for. He's coming where it used to be, oh, my God, we're going against the Giants at Oracle Park. You're playing them at night where they can't hit because of the air, and you're going against a team that doesn't have any superstars. All they do is, okay, we need to make sure Devers doesn't hit us, doesn't beat us. They come in, they see our lineup. We maybe have to worry about 2 or 3 guys. They come in, before you know it, Giants are down 3-4-0 in the 6th inning, the game's over.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It doesn't matter. Any lefty that faces us, we can't hit. But an above average team, when they come here, and, I heard it on another chat today, they were fortunate the Giants didn't have any day games. Well, whose fault is that? Whose fault? That yesterday they moved the game because it was Stephen Curry bobblehead. They moved it to a night game. Okay, they decide. And then you could have told ESPN, we don't want to do the Sunday night game. That's why that game got moved. Originally it was scheduled for 105. So I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm so sick of the homers, and I'm sick of all the excuses.
Yep.
Every night it's an excuse. Oh, well, Chapman got 2 homers. Yeah, but he did strike out 3 times. Okay, that's an excuse. This team can't do anything because we need to get better. Another excuse. We were lucky we got Devers, and at the end of the year, that's going to be our one pickup. Hey, we're better with him than without him. But the problem is when you don't have protection, people are only going to worry about Devers, and that's it.
Lou, do you think, or Dan, either one of you chirp in, do you think that if we see Wisenhunt pitch, let's say he goes out, he pitches tomorrow and pitches a dandy, do you think that one game then interferes? It's going to coincide with trade week. Do you think they go, oh, no, now we don't need any pitching. Oh, we're all set. Do you think tomorrow's game is sort of like, could come back to haunt you one way or the other?
They still need pitching. They still going to need a minimum. Even if he pitches great, they're still going to need another arm.
But what I'm saying, Dan, is if he has a great game, a lights out game, it's one game. Okay, it's one game. Calm the freak down. Then are you gonna? Well, we can't trade him. Can't trade you. No, but we need pit. Like I think it's going to pigeonhole this team tomorrow night's game if he pitches.
We'll see how that goes. I want to ask you guys.
Ready. Dan, what do you think? 4 innings, 80 pitches for Wisenhunt?
I think he's stretched out in the minors. He could go 100 pitches. He can go up to 100.
Lou, do you think he lasts 4 innings?
Pirates are fortunate. It's a good team to face because they don't hit well. So that's probably
a lot of teams don't hit well, Dan, until they play the Giants.
Well, you're playing at Oracle, so you're playing a night game at Oracle. Ball doesn't really travel well, which is what I want to talk to you guys about. We saw Jung-Hoo Lee hit one off the wall last night, and they brought it up tonight again on ESPN. They showed the highlight. They were talking about some of the balls, and then Devers hits a ball to the track in the deepest part of left center, and they're all saying national TV, right? Oh, boy, it would have been a home run in every ballpark except this one. All right, here's my point. And I know a lot of people disagree with this. Say, well, we got to build our team to the ballpark. Well, good luck. You've had this ballpark for – how's that worked for you for the last 10 years? You haven't made the playoffs but once. You say, well, we just got to go find gap-to-gap hitters. And listen, guys, you got – for the next 5 to 8 years, you have 3 home run hitters in Chapman, Adames, and Devers. And you got Eldridge coming. So you got 4 guys that can bop it, plus Ramos can knock it out. So you got 4 guys that can hit 20-plus homers. And I say if you play Casey Schmidt, he's a guy that can hit 20 homers too if he played every day. We've seen his power. When he gets a hold of one, it goes. So you got guys that can hit the ball, but you got a ballpark that thwarts them from hitting the ball out many times. And Devers, you got him for 8 more years. Why do you want to thwart your guys that have power? Why do you want to frustrate Rafi Devers? He looks frustrated when he's up to plate. He hits the ball and he crushes it and he doesn't get it. It's an out. Why not move in left center field 10, 15 feet? Triples alley, move it in from 415 to like 385. Make it a hitter's ballpark. I don't want to hear this, well, we win with pitching and defense. Well, how about if we win the old-fashioned way like the Giants used to win? What's the song when the Giants come to town? It's Bye Bye Baby. Why don't we make that our theme? Why don't we become a team that crushes the ball out of the ballpark, that's entertaining, and we score, maybe 5 runs a game instead of 3 or less, and we start winning some of these games? Oh, yeah, maybe our pitching gives up a little more runs, but we outslug them. Why do we have to be this wimpy offensive? We got to build a wimpy offensive team. You got Devers, Chapman, and Adames signed for 5, 6, and 8 years after this season, and you got Ramos, who's still young, and you got Eldridge coming up. My goodness, make it a hitter's park. Make it your strength.
Nice.
And you know what, Cryptic Trader? The game's changed. So you're talking about when the Giants won the World Series in 10, 12, and 14, when the game was totally different. So I think you're the idiot, okay?
I didn't see the Mets have a problem with the ballpark. I mean, those homers weren't like barely out. It's the problem is it's not the stadium, it's the Giants personnel. We don't have guys that can hit average homers. If you saw the Mets homers tonight, they were launched. Schmidt's too were not cheap. They were launched. Every big homestand when we play someone, Ohtani, when he hits it, it's launched. Ours, we get in the front row. They hit it into McCovey Cove. It's the personnel we have. We don't have home run hitters. The problem is we have guys that think they can hit home run in a non-home run ballpark. And it was like, tonight, Devers hit one. And you know what? Even the camera guy thought it was out. It went like 360. The center fielder never moved. I mean, I've never seen the last 2 homestands. Our outfielders of the opponents never have to move. The ball's right at them. And the ball, it's easy plays. So,
and I also think too, not only that, I think Dan's certainly onto something. I mean, the potential is there if they build it the right way. But I also, on the other side of the coin, the flip side, I've been calling for years now. Last night on the show, I said, where's Brett Butler, Willie McGee? Do we got to bring him out of retirement? There's guys like Chandler Simpson, who's been up and down to the minors this year because they can't find a home for him in Tampa. I mean, the guy's batting .307, and he never seems to have a home in Tampa. He's batting .307, and he'll steal you 90 bases. Can we please get a leadoff hitter? I'd like to see a team in San Francisco built the traditional way and stop putting arguably over the past, month, weeks anyway, our big hitter, you would say, was Ramos. Why is your bopper batting leadoff? I just think everything they do seems to just be, leaves me thinking, well, I know nothing about baseball because this is not the way I would do it. But I guess that's why we were 13 games over 500. What are we now? A couple? There you go. We're going. I said to Eric on the show, this team it will fool you. They take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. So slowly, they're going to fall out of contention when people don't even notice. 2 games out. Now we're going to be trying to leapfrog. You said Cincinnati's getting better. We're falling behind and people aren't noticing. And they're still saying that, build for September. We're getting in. Rally the troops. They're going to be running naked in the streets and planning a World Series parade. And it ain't happening. Dude,
Giants,
all right. You know how you prove? You go down. I'd put all the money. I'm putting it all in Vegas on they're not making the playoffs, dude.
Yeah, of course. And the Giants
Look
are
at
getting.
their-
I'm
look at their
getting sick
record
and
there.
tired. Yeah, look at that. Since 8-1. That's why you don't do anything you sell. And I know we're going to talk about that, but I'm getting a little sick and tired of the gimmicks. Okay, Stephen Curry bobblehead. It's the San Francisco Giants. We don't need to cross promote. Okay, tonight the best thing of the whole entire night tonight was seeing my favorite mascot. What was that?
the
Another
Philly
promotion?
Fanatic? The
No,
Philly
the
Fanatic?
crazy crab.
No, the crazy
crab.
crab. Oh my geez.
The best.
Why that guy's not at all the games? They loved him.
He
The
was
fans loved him.
I remember at Candlestick, people throwing
He brought it up.
belts of beer at him and everything. He took the abuse. And then tonight he beat up Lucille and they've had Lucille's dad. I mean, the Giants, you know what the thing is they're trying to come up because his team's not good with other gimmicks. Forget the gimmicks. Okay. You have a lot of people that are going on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But here it is. On another show that he was saying every game they're getting 40,000. They're dreaming. Pittsburgh's in town. We'll see how many people they have. We'll see how many people they have tomorrow, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Pittsburgh.
It's going to be about 12,000.
Yeah.
Did they announce it for today? What was the crowd?
Oh, I didn't.
I think it was about 40.
No, God, no. There was no one in the back. We got there 2 hours before the game because there was the giveaway. And my wife wanted the giveaway and her friend wanted the giveaway.
What was the giveaway today?
Today it was I got one here.
The Stephen Curry I know must have been big.
Oh, the Lucille.
The Lucille Funko Pop. And you know what? We waited in line for what did we wait in line? 3 minutes. There was no one there. We walked in. It was empty.
Yeah, they said today 40,124.
Lou, I can tell you. But I did see
a lot of empty
I can tell you a lot of things, and it ain't true.
Well,
wasn't even close.
Yeah, it probably wasn't.
We sat in the wrong section, in the wrong seats till the fifth inning and didn't realize it.
Yeah, that tells you how crowded it was.
Nobody up there.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the Mets too. The Mets had a lot of fans there. It looked like they took over the ballpark. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan.
Let's talk about this fundamentals, Aaron. Just as troubling or as more obvious of lack of offensive production is the severe lack of fundamentals, baseball IQ, and mental mistakes all season long. What was Ramos doing on that play? The ball is a dribbler down the third baseline. Why doesn't he just take off and when the ball's hit, he's on third, or just stay? He waits till the guy catches the ball and then runs right into the out.
Who's that?
Ramos.
Wasn't that Jung Hoo?
No, that was Ramos.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Jung Hoo Lee.
Yeah, it was Ramos. I don't know what the heck he was thinking.
Yeah, I wasn't scoring today.
I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
And it's just constantly. This team is one of the look. You can say the player's not intelligent. He's not a smart player, and that's probably true. But you can't have the entire team making all these base running blunders and say
coaching.
It's not on the coaching. Come on. What?
It hasn't, and it's not a one trick. But how many base running blunders have there been? Guys at second base caught off. It's been a mess. Really.
It's close with Matty Williams at third base coach. They're both pretty close. I think that's one thing the Giants are really going to have to think of. Even if they keep Melvin, get some balls, and you're going to have to get rid of your third base coach. You're going to have to get rid of your hitting coach and whoever's in charge of the fundamentals. And, it's bad. This is the worst I've ever seen it. And mentally, they're not there. And it's sort of like they go on the field and they don't even know what they're doing. So they're just doing what they think they're doing, and it's embarrassing. And that's where I thought maybe losing Ron Wotus is a lot more than we don't talk about. He was a good coach. When he was there, we did the fundamentals right. I don't remember the Giants ever being this bad, but, with Wotus not there, maybe he was the glue that kept it together. Because and Dan brings this up. We probably have spoken about the base running probably at least once a week all year. There's some kind of folly or some screw up or, the same thing with a fly ball to left field where two guys don't call each other off and it drops and it leads to big problems, and it's constant. So something's got to be done.
Dan, good question there for you.
Yeah. I don't think Ramos is getting traded. No, I don't. I don't think hardly anything is going to happen. I know a lot of people think big trades are going to happen. I think the Giants shot their wad with Devers, and I think they are pretty much going to try to just go for it the way it is. You'll see a couple of minor deals, probably. They'll probably add some starting pitcher that's, Zach Eflin, Charlie Morton, along that line, just to give him another arm.
And you pick up the money.
And he's a free agent, and you give up, number 20 prospect or whatever, 15, 20. I see a deal like that. I don't, maybe an Isaiah Kiner Falefa, and what good does that do? I mean, he's not going to break the doors down with his bat. He's got an 83 OPS, which means he's below average OPS plus 83. Come on. Casey Schmidt has a better OPS plus than that. Just play him. You know what? Schmidt's been flawless with the glove at second base. He's going to have ups and downs hitting as the rest of the team is. But you know what? At some point, you got to play some of your guys and just let them develop. And guys like Ramos, who's having a rough year in the field, he's had some rough year. Look, Ramos is not going to hit consistently because they move him around in the lineup. They move him from first to fourth to fifth, and there's nobody behind him consistently. Giants don't have any protection in the lineup. That's why Devers is struggling. There's nobody, like, I don't know if it was Glenn that brought it up or Lou earlier, when Devers is up, he's not going to see all these great pitches because why? You got Diaz looks in the on deck circle. I can get Adames. I can get Chapman. I just blow it by these guys. I just won't put it, give them anything good to hit, and they'll, whatever. It's just, and again, sometimes Adames is going to come through for you. Sometimes Chapman's going to come through. That's baseball. Sometimes Ramos is, sometimes Devers is, sometimes Lee is. But overall, these guys strike out way, 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 way too much. And you can't have a team that strikes out this much and consistently score runs. Why? Because the line's not moving. The line stops. It's like on Bart, we're at the end of the line here, end of the line, whatever station used to be Concord, and I think it went out to Pittsburgh or Antioch. End of the line, everybody off. That's the Giants lineup. Okay, we got runners on second and third. Okay, here comes Bailey and Wisely. End of the line, rally killed.
Get the commercial ready, Glenn. We're going 60 in 6 seconds. All right, that's 2 commercials. You're going to talk, lead into it. We got bases loaded. There's 1 out, but look who we got coming up. So be ready. All right, there's 1 strikeout. All right, you ready? You ready to go to the commercial? In your right ear. I'll tell you the other thing is the trade deadline is in 4 days. The Giants have 2 pitchers. One has been so erratic, even Robert isn't a big fan of him, and we're talking about Webb. Then we have Ray, and then we have nobody else. So we're only making trades just so we can actually get somebody can actually pitch for us. Because let me tell you, we have Wisenhunt tomorrow. I'm expecting maybe 4 innings. First time around to get through, but I don't have much faith in him. There's a reason why he's been down in the minors. Okay. Second of all, we can't really do anything because our bullpen is getting shot now too. If you notice, you do these games where we had one today. Say Wisenhunt has a tough time and only pitches 3 innings. There's our bullpen again. We still have 2 more games. It's not like the Giants have every Thursday, they have a day off. And, when we go on the road, we don't know how the weather's going to be. You might have a rain delay. With no pitching, this team has no future. And right now, me and Dan have been saying it, we have 2 pitchers that are literally good pitchers, but they're not consistent. So it doesn't really matter about the offense. When you have to trade just because you have no arms at all, that's a problem. And, it's just one of those things where I remember Robert Friday guaranteed a win with Webb. He got shellacked. He guaranteed with Ray another loss. So, Robert, you got about 3 things right this year, but you came back with 7 wrong. So, you say we can still turn it around.
Vegas, no. He wouldn't do it in Vegas. They love him. They love
Robert,
guys
come with us and you roll the dice. I'll be betting that don't come and going as much as back as I can, and I'll be a millionaire.
Yeah. Another problem I see now, guys, the proof is in the pudding. Each series, so you can look back probably the last, I would dare say go back the last dozen. We got to go back a few months. Each series, each team we play, those other teams show us why they are better ball clubs all around. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the Mets this series. In my opinion, Atlanta showed us they're a better ball club, and look where they're at in the standings. We couldn't beat the Miami, but people have forgotten about the Miami sweep and the troubles we had in Chicago against the White Sox. But we still, oh my God, we can beat Pittsburgh. We're going to take 5 or 6, and oh my God, I don't know. I don't know why these people just no one is. It's just us 3. No one can just go, you know what? I think this season it's time to look ahead. But no, you gotta. It's like they're all in at the poker table, and I can't get my money back, so I got to stay all in on this. It's okay to back out and go, I was wrong. Yeah. Just like I said this was a 500 ball club, and no one listened.
Yeah. And Glenn, me and Dan said this: the second half of the season, the Giants in the last 10 years have only had 1 winning record. So coming out of the break, you had to be clutch. So we said, after the first, I think it was the second game against Toronto, we have 10 games. The Giants need to go 7-3 at least in the 10 games. They need to go 7-3, and then we can maybe think about buying.
What are they now?
Guess what?
2 and
they are
2-6.
Yeah, 2 and
5.
Yeah, 2 and 5.
2 and 5. Yeah.
So that tells you this team. And again, what's even more ironic is since they gave Melvin that second year, remember, 2 big things happened. The Devers trade, we have a losing record. We signed Melvin to give him confidence because the Giants were having problems. So Buster made another move. Let's give Melvin another year. They have a losing record. So how you guys think, it's like how many times this girl's not right for you guys. You got to break up. Being a Giants fan, it's tough. I know we're all Giants fans, okay? We want them to be great, but you got to face reality. We're coming up on 4 years where this team hasn't even been 1 game over 500, or maybe one time I think maybe there were 2, 82 and 80. Okay, this team is the exact same team that we keep talking about 4 years straight. You guys all got on the Buster Kool-Aid. Buster's in charge. I mean, I'm already making sure because I made that bet for $150 worth of tequila at Tommy's. They're going to win 90. And all that guy said is we got Buster in charge. We're winning 90. Now, I admit Dan went up a little bit and said, hey, we're going to win 86 because he thought the attitude was better. But when you look at it, we still have the
revised that.
The same players. What do you mean this is not the same team? To tell you the truth, this team might be worse than last year. And we picked up Adames and we picked up Devers. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we wind up like 78 and 84. I don't see anything.
I think they're going to win right
down the
around
road.
80.
I just don't see it. Look at the schedule. Glenn brought it up. He said, Lou, you keep talking about the second half schedule. Our schedule is not easy. I'll just say something. Another podcast that was before ours. Marty's one of these guys. He goes, yeah, but we still play Arizona and Colorado. Every time we say that in September, you know what we do in 12 games against them? We'll go 5-7. Who cares who cares about the last 3 games of the season, Colorado here? This team can't hit. And if we don't have pitching, it doesn't matter who we play. We're going to be lucky just to be, we're 2 games over. We're going to be lucky to be staying 500.
Yeah. Let me get to these super chats real quick. Rob says fans need to stop attending games and send ownership a message. Yeah, the problem is that a lot of these games are pre-sold for the rest of the season. They've got a lot of weekend games. The Giants were fortunate this year because they got off to a decent start, got the fans excited. They had the Dodgers for the weekend. They had the Mets right here for the weekend. They had the Red Sox for a weekend. They had some really good, attractive teams for the
Dodgers
weekend.
twice on the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dodgers still coming up. Yeah. So, and then Rob also says Yaz for cash considerations is his prediction for a trade. That's interesting. I want to show you guys
I
something.
think it's more. Do you not think that's more realistic too, Dan?
What's that?
He says
Yaz?
a guy like Yaz for cash considerations. I would not be surprised if Posey elects to or is forced, his hands forced to just clear a little bit of payroll and some dead wood. And not necessarily bring in, a lot of guys in our chats are still thinking blue chip pieces. I don't think they'll bring in blue chip. I think they'll bring in some pieces. And I've always said to Eric that I am against making deals if they're just what I call the horizontal deal. You got to make the deals to make your team better for the stretch run. But if you're just bringing, like I said earlier, if you're just filling, the hole in the dam, filling up the gaps to get by, well, that's not building for a winning run, is it? Just getting by.
Right. Look at that. The Giants got to go 36-20 to win 90 games. When's the last time the Giants were 16 games over 500? I don't even know if have they been since 22 been 16 games over 500?
Boy, I'm taking the under.
Combined? No, they haven't. Combined. This is year 2, 3, 4. This is year 4 of the best team since the 22 season has won 81 games. Think about that.
And they won, I think they won what? They went 6-1 to end the season to get that record.
Yeah, to get to 81. That was yeah. All right. I want to show you guys something interesting because people talk about the Giants when they won the World Series. Well, look how they won the World Series in 2010. Their current K rate for this year is 23.5%. You see that right there, 17.9. That was their K rate for the team.
Big difference.
They struck out. They had 6,143 plate appearances. And because of all these stupid ads, I can't find it. It was 17.9. That's about over 5% different than this year. Let's take a look at the next one. If we look at 2012 season, they won the World Series there. I think it went slightly up. Okay. In that season, instead of 17.9, it was, went down 17.7. Okay. And then in wait a minute, where'd I go here? Where's my, here we go. In 2014, the Giants K rate as a team, was 20.5. 20.5. See how the game is changed. Let's just play this thing around and see we'll go from 2016 and then we'll jump up to the 2020s and see where the team has gone of the game itself. But 2016, their K rate as a team was back down 17.7. Okay. So if we went to 2022.
2022. Yep.
K rate 23.9.
What was our K rate in the big year? 21.
21. Let's go back and look at that.
Curious. All those wins.
Now, I bet it was still up there, but they hit a lot of home runs that year.
Led the National League. Yeah.
23.6. But the difference is they had guys that were actually hitting the ball out of the ballpark. 141
homers that year.
Yeah. 23.6%. So about where they're at this year. Let's see where they're actually at this year, because I thought it was 23. Let me go check the 25 season. Okay, for this year, it is 22.7. Interesting. Okay, so, I've always said I can live with the strikeout if you got guys that are hitting the long ball. I mean, you had a lot of guys. I mean, Brandon Belt hit 29 home runs, and I don't even think he played 100 games that year. I think the Giants, if Belt didn't break his thumb against the Rockies that last week of the season, Giants might have went to the World Series that year. But that's the two biggest words in sports, right? If. And we will be doing a show actually eventually called What If. We're going to come up with a show called What If on NorCal Sports Network. And we're going to have some unbelievable what ifs. Payroll for Cleveland is $104 million. Santana comes off next year at 12. They could absorb Devers' contract if they're willing to go to 115. So you're thinking you want to trade Devers for Kwan. I don't know if I would do that trade simply because Kwan has no power. He has no power. And you got to have, I think you just got to find a guy to add a guy like Kwan.
Like Kwan. There you go.
Add a guy like Kwan. Don't trade Devers for a Kwan. Get a guy like Kwan who could set the table, and then get somebody behind Devers that is is a scary hitter that people don't want to face, whether that's, a guy like a Kyle Schwarber or somebody along those lines where you go like, oh, shoot, I don't want to walk Devers and then face Schwarber who could, knock it out of the ball into the water. Giants just, we talked about these home runs and different things and the dimensions. And Lou is partly right. In 21, there was no issues. They hit 241 home runs. I think it's just like Lou, it's just getting the right players. Because these guys Chapman hits homers and he's going to hit 20. He's going to hit his, 25 homers roughly a year, but he's going to strike out way too much. And he doesn't drive in a ton of runs. And Adames is going to do the same thing. And you got to realize that 30 home runs, this drought since 2000, what was it, 7, Lou? 6, 7, something like that. Whatever it was, 6.
Yeah, 30 homers. And I think
it's been 04, was it? Was it 04?
19. Yeah, I think it's 04. And then we've had 20 straight left fielders, different left fielders starting opening day.
But think about it, guys. Do you think, in all fairness, that we are still kind of compromised by the ghost of Farhan? Dan has mentioned the big three. You get our big boppers. Well, look at a team like the Toronto Blue Jays. If you take Vladdy Guerrero, Bichette, and Springer, well, take their big three. Look what they've got around them. They got a cast of characters that 90% of the chat have never heard of, but they're a team. They're
and they
good.
Hit the ball.
Team who hit the ball. Their contact. I watch as many Jays games as I can, especially if they're in the day, because I get the Rogers Sportsnet as part of my Canadian package. And the Jays make contact. Teams are built differently than us, and those teams are built better. They have better.
Look what they did to the Giants. They showed what a team can do. And then I'm going to bring up today.
Solid contact,
we all talk about the ballpark. The Mets played Oracle Park better than the Giants. They got 6 doubles and 2 homers. When's the last time the Giants at home got 6 doubles and 2 homers? Now, 2 of them were down the line. 2 were in the gap. 1 was sort of a misplay. But, I mean, they see the ballpark. They take the pitches. They know what to do. When they get the runners on after a double, they work them over, with a ground ball. Then another ground ball. They get him in. And they know that guy at third is going to score with another double. The other thing today about the Giants, they only got 6 hits? But they got 6 walks. So they got 6 free things, and we still couldn't score. And that's the problem when you get the free walks after a hit and you strike out, the walks become useless because you can't get the runner in. So today was a perfect example.
Lou, some guys are in the chat and they've got comments about, my term, the ghost of Farhan. There's still a lot of Farhan leftovers in this ball club. Wisely.
I think you bring a great point until you get rid of everything. Dan brought up the great point. Our GM was his right-hand man. Why do we still have him? If we're going to fire Farhan for everything he did, why do we still keep his cousin? It's one of those things when you have a real bad divorce, you're divorced from the whole family, still don't hang out with the brother-in-law and then the sister. You just don't do that. You need a free thing. And I think the thing with the Giants is, we're giving Buster, hey, he's only been here 1 year. Yeah. But he kept the manager, which a lot of people don't like. He kept the third baseman, the batting coach.
Yeah.
If it was me, I would have done a clean slate. Buster, get your own GM. You didn't. Now, again, I don't know why. Maybe Buster didn't have a choice on that too. I think maybe you got to blame maybe our president, Larry, because he's such a homer and he does that. But then I would have got rid of all new coaches because remember, but Buster in charge, it was a whole new attitude. But when you only have one guy on the top and you still have the whole staff, it's not a whole new attitude. You got to get rid of the dead wood. I haven't.
What is the problem? Lou, answer me this. It's hard enough to keep track of the ball club and not behind the scenes. What is it with this team and players of baseball operations, GMs, and can't you just hire me a GM and run the freaking show? Wasn't that why Kim Ng said, I ain't going there? There were too many puppet strings were being pulled.
Yeah.
There was, I could tell you this, Glenn, no experienced president of baseball operations wanted to touch the Giants job because Buster had already named himself the president of baseball ops. So they didn't want to, none of them wanted to go be an underling when they're used to running the show.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go do something and become something less than what I've done my entire career, unless it's just, I'm a consultant, if you want to hire me.
You ever hear the old saying, you can't have too many cooks. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. You got one.
Right. Yep. Hey, by the way, Glenn, the 17.4% K rate right there, what do you think that represents for this year? That's a team.
In 263, I would say Toronto.
Yep, you got it. That's the Blue Jays right there. That is the Blue Jays. And they're hitting 263 with a 17.4% K rate. And we looked at the we saw the Giants. What was, I didn't even see what the Giants batting average was.
You know what? If you dove in deeper, you know what that would prove? That would prove they're hitting guys in. They're hitting with runners in scoring position as well.
And one of their big threes having
Giants
a tough year.
batting average is 233 as a team. 233. No wonder this team's okay. That's it. 233. I'm sorry. I'm playing in a different fantasy league, and I'll pull up the stats on that. And the guy who's in 12th place, his fantasy league team, let me look what the batting average is of that guy. And the stats are the team with the worst batting average in this league is 247. 247. That just tells you that the Giants and you're picking guys on, everybody's picked. That just tells you the Giants have a lot of players that are not really major league ready. 233. Are you serious? Come on. That's pathetic. That might that's got to be close to the bottom.
Well, yeah, we're 26 in the MLB in average. I think we're 29th in runners in scoring position. And then I thought we were like 30th in sacrifice flies, dead last. So when you talk about offense, we're like almost dead last in all the major categories.
They did show that tonight up on the ESPN. Okay, team-wise, if we look at the teams under stats, if we go to batting average, as you mentioned, let's do that. Let's see what the Giants rank in batting average. There's the Blue Jays at top, 263. Let me pull that one up for you guys so you can see it what I'm looking at, and then we'll just kind of get an idea what these other teams are doing. Okay, so there's the Blue Jays and the Astros. Funny thing that those teams and the Cubs and the Phillies are all in the playoffs. They're all batting, where are we going here? Where's my batting average? Hold on. Batting average. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Batting average. 263, 257, 255. Cubs, Phillies. Let's see where the Giants are. Dodgers are up there. Yankees are up there. Red Sox, Brewers. Giants are down here.
Oh, we've moved up.
26.
Oh, we moved up. Oh,
233. And who's going to pass them is Texas. Texas is starting to hit now. Okay, so we're at the bottom 5 of batting average. Let's see where we're at in home runs.
We're still dead last in stolen bases, right? Or pretty bad.
24th in home runs. Stolen bases, we are 46. We're second. We're 29th. We're one ahead of Pittsburgh or Detroit. I mean, one ahead of Detroit.
How many does Tampa have? I think they must lead.
Tampa has 138.
Yeah. I love.
Look at the Cubs and Brewers fighting for the division, 121 and 120. And Seattle's right up there in the playoff hunt with 99. Texas is now tied for a wild card with 99. Phillies, 91. Red Sox, Mets. The Giants they don't run, they don't hit, they strike out a lot. What else good can we say about the Giants?
They're ineffective in all categories, period.
That is bad. You're at the bottom of batting average. You're near the bottom of home runs. You're second to last in stolen bases. I wonder if there's another stat that was
the one good thing they were like fifth or sixth with runs, but I think it's starting to drop a little bit. Remember,
let's see where they're at in runs. So many right now in runs, they are 22nd. 22nd.
Dan, when we come on and do these shows and people are entitled to their opinion, at the end of the day, these numbers don't lie to us.
RBIs, 22nd.
This is what we are.
Yep. Total bases. They are.
Can't be good.
Where are they?
When you can't hit and you don't hit home runs, your total bases can't be. It got to be bad.
How do they get 37? There's 30 teams. They got 1/3. What does that mean?
Well, that must be really bad, Dan.
Rank. I don't get that. Total bases.
Only the Giants.
On base percentage, the Giants are 21st. They get on base 31% of the time. The OPS, okay, Giants rank 24th.
I'm starting to think that the beautiful chicken is actually Chardol. My God. Oh, Eric is on assignment. He isn't here tonight. He's only asked 36 times, I think. So calm down.
He's fine. Yeah, he's on assignment.
I'm getting a headache.
Wow. It's so I don't know. People talk about, we hear a lot of talk about what the Giants are going to do. And to me, the team's telling you in the second half, they're telling you, we don't have the horses. You're better off trying to sell a Robbie Ray, get something good for him. Hate to say this, Glenn, but you probably should be trying to send Wilmer to a playoff contender so he could help a team, with clutch hitting.
Oh, I say he's the first Wilmer and Yaz, the first two on my list.
Yeah, and then Ray should be going, and they should be.
No, I could tell you. Oh God, you got to keep them, but that would move me from the screen to the chat, and I don't want to be over on that side anymore, Dan.
If I was running the Giants, I would be talking to Chapman and saying, "Look, I've got people calling about you, but you got a no trade deal. Do you want to stay? We can move you to a contender if you want." He'll probably say, "No, I want to stay here."
Do you want to go to the Yankees? And do you want to help us since we got you this big contract that's guaranteed, or do you want to stay with us?
I think he's settling here. He's a Bay guy now. Between Oakland here, I think this is.
Yep, that's why he wanted. That's why he wanted the no trade. Some players like the feeling of, hey, look, I know where I'm going to be for the next 6 years. I'm going to raise my family. I'm going to buy this house. I'm going to live in this neighborhood, and I'm just going to. Yeah, and I got security, and that's the way they want it. And I know he wants to win. I know Chapman wants to win. I know Adames wants to win. I know, I hate to say it, guys, but there's one. Let me remove this comment. I got it. Chapman wanted the no trade. That wasn't Posey. He wanted a constant sense of home in the Bay. Okay, nothing wrong. No, exactly. We just said that. Nothing wrong with that.
No, but that was wrong, what he wrote. The trade, Posey said, put in the no trade clause. He's the one that made the signing happen.
Right.
Farhan said no. Posey said, give him the no trade. That was his first decision before he became president of operations. So the no trade was because of Posey. He's the one that said it. He's the one that made it happen.
He stepped in as the owner and overrode that and got it done. And he already knew he was going to fire Farhan and blah, blah, blah. But here's the one constant, guys, that really is not getting talked about. Okay. It's not getting talked about on any Bay Area media. It's not getting talked about much on a lot of content creators that handle the Giants. And this might be the biggest thing that might be kind of holding back the Giants is, do you have a manager who has become kind of laid back to the point where it's just good word. There's not a lot of fire, it seems like, I don't know, and I like Melvin personally, but is we're seeing coaches screw up, players screw up. Look, at some point, somebody's got to be held accountable.
Dan, only when they go to the replay does he get excited. No, he was safe. That's the only time he shows any emotion.
It happened in San Diego, right? In San Diego, they were doing really good, and they fell apart was that the 22 season, I think?
Yeah.
And then in the 23, they made it into the playoffs, I think, with him. Or maybe I got it backwards. I think the 22 season,
they made it
to the playoffs.
They blamed him, and then 23, they fell short.
Fell short.
And they got rid of him.
And they got rid of him, and they wanted to get rid. Yeah.
Not only did they extend him while the team's struggling.
And they did it just as a spark.
The pat on the back, and we have faith in you.
Now, I don't know if Posey's a chess player, if he's playing chess or playing checkers, but there's a possibility that he said, I'm going to give Melvin a vote of confidence, and I'll see how he handles the rest of the year, knowing he's got security. Does he get lighter? Is that who he really is? Or because there's a point where you could say, oh, he's fighting for his job. He's getting really tough because he doesn't know if he's going to get extended or not. So he's on all these guys. Well, if I hire him and give him security, does he really be the same guy? Is he the same guy, or does he become complacent? And I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I just know that if they fall flat on their faces in the second half and they only win like 74, 75 games, there's nothing holding back Buster from saying, hey, we're just going to go in a different direction. The team just really didn't pan out to the expectations in the second half. And you eat 1 year. What are you eating? $3 million? Big deal. I mean, $3 million.
You have to do that for the fans. Hey guys, another disappointment. I tried. Now we got to make change. You got to do what's best for the fans, because let me tell you something. They got very lucky, as Dan said. You had all the best visiting teams on the weekend. You know, the only team that's good that still will get big draw are the Cubs. They are so lucky they got the Dodgers twice. You know, it's not like they got Colorado, you know, these bad teams. In fact, here, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you who they had on the weekend because I had the schedule here. Just listen to how lucky they got. Okay, because they got Texas Rangers and Bochy. Pretty nice. They had the Rockies one time. You had the A's, so you get that. You then had Atlanta, you know, who was decent. You had Boston. You had the Dodgers. You have the Mets. You have the Nationals, which, you know, I mean, it's not great, but it's better to have them on the weekend and probably more giveaways. You then have Tampa Bay, yes, but then you have the Orioles. You have the Dodgers again and the Cardinals. I mean, you know, those are big visiting teams where at least like tonight, I watched the game, there were a lot of Mets fans. And, you know, they probably come out like the Dodgers for the whole weekend, come out here. They were probably if there was 40,000, I'd say 18,000 Mets fans. I saw a lot of jerseys, a lot of Mets jerseys. And if you remember, and when you remember when the Dodgers were here, you saw the Dodgers, I think, were almost 45, 50%. So,
yeah, good point, Lou. Hey, EB makes a good point. And I was just going to say this. It matches what I was going to say. What's the difference of him going into next year on a lame duck? You're going to have that hanging over Melvin
the same thing,
next year? I could see this being that if they falter, I could see them dropping the hammer like, hey, why would you go? They fail this year. Okay, we're going to do it all again next year. And then the Giants are struggling at some point, and the talk is going to be all about, what are you going to go extend them one more year? So you erase that talk that you're not going to fire a guy? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Dan, let me ask you a question because you're older and wiser than I am. Not by much.
Not by much. You're
a little older, I think. I got more.
I got less hair.
Agents and hair, I guess. But
give me some of that. I'll put it right up here.
There you go. Paste it on. Well, you'd have a bacon strip then. I don't know. I think we're just leave it as is. But listen, buddy. When was the last time you bring up a good point? Both of you do. When was the last time this Giants team made a move? I wouldn't, maybe I'm using the wrong term, drastic, a move that just sent a serious message, a move that said, we're in it to win it, that kind of move. And I don't think the Devers trade can be considered. I don't call the Devers trade a trade. They picked up a salary, really, is all they did. That wasn't a trade, in my opinion. But I haven't seen once, and I'm going back a long ways, boys, since I seen the Giants make a move that said, finishing adequate is not what we are. And I think often, if we go into next year with Bob Melvin, it just shows this team is, well, we're happy to stumble and fumble along. And, the status quo is okay. And I think it's time to make some serious moves.
Robert Brown brings up a good point. 1997 or 1996 in the offseason, Brian Sabian is a first-year general manager with Ned Colletti. They traded Matt Williams for Jeff Kent and a couple other guys in the deal. But
what was the year?
1996 in the offseason.
Yep. We got probably people in the chat who weren't even born then, Dan. That's the problem.
So this is I don't see. I'll say, yeah. And before that, the biggest move the franchise had made was 1992. The 1992 was getting Barry Bonds signed for, at that time,
but that free agency.
43. Yeah, but that was a move that said we're going to win.
And they had to with a new ballpark. You got to get something with a new ballpark.
Well, they didn't have a new ballpark. They had to wait 7 years.
Do you guys not look around Major League Baseball like the Mets owner is a prime example?
Sorry, new ownership. Sorry.
Do you not look at ownership and just go, hey, well, I know how I do it. I take over the team and go, that's it. We're cleaning house. We're going to, and people have used the term rebuild in the chat about, if we get a new manager, does that add to the rebuild? This team doesn't believe in a rebuild. They just keep throwing pieces on the board. I would say that's it. The days of just getting by here are over. And I think that's what they got to do. I think you need
they need
take a serious look at this team.
I'll bring up the other trade that I thought
was the organization, Lou. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think, when Buster went down, they had to make a trade, and they traded an ace who's now one of the best pitchers in the league, but you had to do it because you needed a bat. But I mean, I think of my trade in 1987. If you remember, the trade happened July 5th, a week before the All-Star game. Okay. They traded Chris Brown, that actually was an All-Star for the Giants. Okay. They traded him. They traded Mark Davis, who is a pitcher. Mark Davis, the next year after this trade, was Cy Young, by the way, just to show you how good he was. Mark Grant was another starter. And then they traded Keith Comstock. So
Keith
the Giants
Comstock, and they got Dave Dravecky, Kevin Mitchell, and Craig Lefferts. 7-player deal.
7-player deal in the division.
Yep.
And, Kevin Mitchell, if you guys didn't know him, probably was only in the league, I think, 3 years. He basically came up with the Mets.
He played on the
the Mets
on the
and
86
the playoffs,
Mets World Series.
And then Dravecky we all know about, and Lefferts, was a solid reliever. But we gave up an all-star third baseman, and we gave up a guy next year who won the Cy Young. So it just shows you, to get good players like we got, you got to give up good guys.
And everybody was upset with that trade, thinking the Giants lost.
You guys gave away Chris Brown. It was just like when the Giants
and Davis, and because he was a young lefty, and everybody was up on him. And then it's like we got Dravecky, and I mean Dravecky was great until he obviously got hurt, and then Mitchell, of course, was MVP in '89.
Hey, Lou, you and I are right. You and I are in total agreement on this situation. And I will add something that you and I are total agreement as well. I think Dan is on board. It takes balls to make the big deal. It takes balls to make the big deal.
Why don't we make a deal right now?
If you're going to unload good players to get good players and roll the dice in some aspects, you still have to have, and that you're going to have to answer for the move. Does the Giants ownership and front office right now, as it stands, do they have the ball? I've yet to see them have the balls, because again, I don't call the Devers deal a trade. They took on salary and gave up really nothing, in my opinion.
Speaking of balls, deal. Glenn, how about if we make a deal right now in fantasy, since we're talking about
the only balls are these ones. I like these ones, buddy. I'll be at the game next week. I'm going to Chicago for the Valkyries game. And I know they don't like to talk about a winning team like the Valkyries on our Sunday night. So, Lou, I'll mention that your Saskatchewan Roughriders beat Edmonton 21-18 in the CFL. How about that? I put a little
they
coin
got
on
the
that.
best record in the CFL right now.
I put a little coin on that one, and I was happy to take the money.
I got them winning the their league and then the CFL this year. It'll be a very good year if possible.
There we go.
I've got them possibly winning the division, the West, but I think they lose in the playoffs. I got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers winning the
Winnipeg. All right.
Whatever channel you're watching this show on, guys, make sure you do hit that like and subscribe button. Like the show. It helps the algorithms of our channels. It pushes the show out to more people. More people learn about Giants coverage, and that helps both of us out, our channels. So we do appreciate that.
We have a bit of fun. We enjoy sports.
Hey, Dan, who was the guy we traded who everyone was upset about? He was probably on our team 2 years, and we traded him. He was a third baseman. Did we trade him to Tampa Bay, or was it the Cubs?
Talking about Christian Arroyo?
No, another guy. He actually made the major league team, and everyone was like, "Why'd we get rid of that
Duffy?
guy?" And
Duffy?
Yeah, Duffy.
Yeah, Duffy.
Everybody got upset. We traded Duffy. He's got a future. Do you know how many years that guy lasted in the league? 4.
He played for a while. No, he played longer than that. He just was.
He never started. He was more of a bench player.
He played like over 10 years, but he was never and
people were like, "Why'd you give up on Duffy?" What? That's the problem. Is you guys fall in love with these guys that are average at best. Okay, it's okay to move them. It's one of these things. Our Giants guys. I mean, imagine what's going to happen. Say Eldridge has a few problems. He comes up, knock on wood, he's a stud. But say he has a few problems. And then, finally, maybe in a couple of years, we need a pitcher. And Eldridge, they want Eldridge. And Eldridge is maybe a Brandon Belt type of player. He's not like Willie McCovey. And we trade him and we get a pitcher we have to. And people are going to go, "Oh, my God, you didn't give Eldridge time." It's the same thing. You guys fall in love. Who cares how they are in the minors? It's what they've done on the pro level, okay? And for us to improve, sometimes you have to give up quality. But we never want to give up everyone. We think, guys, if we give up Yaz, we can probably trade him to Cleveland and get Quan. They both play outfield, and they're pretty. That's how the chat thinks.
Come on,
it's not
Lou.
like that. You have guys that are.
I will say this about Eldridge. I think you have to take the risk of building around him because he has a very, very high ceiling. And the Giants do not have anybody on their team with a high ceiling except maybe Devers. Okay. So now let's say Eldridge is not the guy, but to give up on a guy with that high of a ceiling, that's what you want. The Giants have nobody like that. It's frustrating because to me, he's the first draft pick they have made in the last, I don't know how many years with a really high ceiling. What's that?
Probably
since Buster,
offensively, yeah.
But they passed up this year on a guy from Auburn, a catcher named Ike Irish, who has a real high ceiling, but he might also be a bust. And they went the safe route with this Colleen guy who's a high floor guy, but a low ceiling.
Yeah,
I'd rather go for a few guys. Giants need some guys with high ceilings. They need to get those guys that other teams have, like Cincinnati. They got Ellie De La Cruz.
But again, it's balls, man.
Yeah. Pittsburgh has Skeens. Of course, yes, they're drafted early and they got them first and all that. But, hopefully the Giants have that coming up in this Josier De Jesus Gonzalez, but he's only 17, so we're not going to find out for 4 or 5 years. But he's got comps to Francisco Lindor. That's what the Giants need to be building, getting these number one guys out of the Dominican or Venezuela or whatever in that international signing period. They've got to get the top guys, and they need to stack them And we need to find a Vladdy or an Ellie or an Acuna. We need those guys. When's the last Giant that we had that was not a free agent? I mean, Buster was great, but he wasn't like, a freakish athlete. When's the last freak we had besides Bonds?
Yeah, he's coming. We hope.
Yeah.
But you know what? In another term, instead of saying you got to have balls to make the deal, you can't be afraid of failure. If you go all in on, like Dan says, those big guys, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you can't always go for the soft, fluffy picks, saying, "Yeah, at least this will make our major league level." Don't be afraid of failure. And I don't know why the Giants always. Do you guys find that about the Giants? Isn't it safe to say we like to get by? We like to get by instead of I'm in it to freaking win it.
I'm here to be safe.
How about a shirt like that? In it to win it. We got a shirt that says in it to compete for the third wild card.
Embarrassment.
I mean, we don't even, forget the division. The division was never in play. We were 41-29, by the way, guys, and tied for the Dodgers on June 13th, 14th, something like that. We were 41-29, 12 games over 500. We're now 54-52. So that means 41. What did I say they were? 41 and what? 29?
Yeah, they were 41-29.
So they've lost what? 23 games and won 13 and 23
right.
in the last 36.
Yeah, that's got playoff written all over them.
That'll get it done. That'll get it. That'll put some fear into the other ball clubs. 13-23. There it is, Spencer. Exact. Come on. And we think that the Giants, Robert Rothberg's still out there thinking the Giants have a shot to win 90. Yeah, they're going to go 36-20. They haven't been 16 games over 500 probably combined for 4 years.
Hell, I'd like to just see them win a series.
Yeah. I mean, this is the series that you have a shot, but tomorrow night they're going to be facing Keller.
Yeah, Keller's a stud. I think the Giants got to do is you got to take a chance with guys with high ceilings. I mean, we always bring up Tatis. People forget Tatis was with the Chicago White Sox, and the Padres traded for him. With a guy that you've heard about who has a huge high ceiling, you got to get him, because all you need is one of those out of 5 to pan out, and that's your stud that you can live on for 10 years. The guy played shortstop. Now he's playing outfield. When he bats, you don't want to miss it. We're hoping Eldridge can be like that, but until he proves it in the top of in the majors, we just don't know. There's also a reason.
He has some special about him written on him, though. If you watch him, I think this guy, if he stays healthy, he's going to be the first guy to break the 30 home run barrier for the Giants. He might even do it before Devers.
Dan, I think you follow the local media. I know, Lou, you would, being here in town with me. I listen to KMBR tomorrow. You know exactly what the storyline will be. Looking ahead, it will be, now, if we take 2 or 3 from the Pirates, they don't have the pitching. There are 101 freaking excuses on why we're better than everybody else. They were doing that on Friday with the Mets coming in. Well, the Mets, they're not what they used to be. And, the Mets just swept us, guys. What will the answer be?
I don't understand why they say that when they came in with a 4-game winning streak. The problem with KMBR, the commercial leader, is they have too many homers. They have too many people on the salary where they can't see anything negative. And
I'd like this on KMBR. Let's keep it real. Keep it real. They don't keep it real. It's pandering.
They live in a fantasy world. Fantasy.
They pander to the people who are paying the bills, Lou.
Yeah, it's bad. And, 90, the game too gets pretty bad too. And, it's hard to listen to the pregame show. And it's the same thing with announcers. How we talk about how our chat loves these players. Nobody ever admits, oh, no, we have the greatest announcers. Okay. First of all, if you guys have been listening the last couple of years, they become more homers than you've ever seen. Okay. Fleming is horrible. Whoever Fleming's with, when they're on KBR, they're just strictly homers. They tell the umpires they don't know how to ref. Every excuse. And if there's a hard hit ball to Chapman, just right at him. Oh, my God. That's why he's a Golden Glove guy. They don't talk that he went 0 for 4 and left 7 runners on. Okay. The Giants, Kruk and Kuip are good. But if you notice and you really listen to them, they're making a lot of mistakes. And who's the main guy we got from Baltimore again? I'm Joe.
Oh, John Miller?
Yeah, John Miller. Miller, one of the best guys, but in the last 4 years, he makes a lot of mistakes. He called Cleveland the Indians twice. He called Chicago game. One time he said
not as bad as the A's announcer, though.
The A's announcer.
There's a ball hit the right field. That ball is deep.
You got to show it to Glenn. Glenn, you'll love this. Being a former announcer,
wow.
You got to show it. Do you still have it? I don't know if Glenn's seen it.
I still have it. I just don't. I'll show it to him off there because I don't want to.
Okay.
We have a lot on here.
It's one of those things where I listen to the radio for Giant games more than watch the TV. Mm-hmm. Miller, great, Hall of Fame, but he's gotten old. He makes a lot of mistakes. And
KBR says Chapman's Hall of Fame. Oh, come on, please.
Yeah. See,
they don't. Who on KBR is saying that Matt Chapman is a Hall of Famer? I want to know who's saying that
on the morning show. Who's the main guy on the morning show?
Murph, and then the other guy.
Come on,
Murph's the worst.
No,
they are such homers. Oh yeah,
no way. Murph doesn't say that.
Yes, he did. Then.
If he said that, I gotta. Oh, he would take that back.
Yeah, and then the new guy that replaced him, and Papa hasn't been on for so long. That afternoon show, they call it something else. They're horrible. That's why KBR is tanking. They have guys that are horrible, and it's really bad. And then look at the people they have on. Susan Slusser, she's horrible. She's such a homer. Oh, don't worry about it. Giants are looking good,
Oh,
we still got it.
Slusser, she doesn't know anything about baseball. I don't even know how she has a job. She was the head of the baseball writers.
Beautiful chicken, dirty work. That might be one of the worst shows in the afternoon. So.
Susan Slusher.
Yeah.
Lusher. I mean, come on. This gal, she asks the dumbest questions to Melvin. Please.
KBR made so many human resources moves. They've just they've carved that like a Thanksgiving turkey up to nothing. There's no substance to that radio station anymore.
It's so boring now. I mean,
the afternoon show is
George coming at you says, Lou, you're not better on this show than Miller, Kuip, and Kruko. Stop it. Giants have Hall of Fame announcers. Every team has homers as announcers.
Hey, wait till next year. I'll be a Hall of Fame.
George,
I'll be next year, boys.
They should be better. I've only been doing this 2 years, and I'm doing this as a courtesy to you. And those guys make probably who knows how much. But dude, you know what? That's your problem. You think these guys are still great? They're not. Okay.
You know what? I'm not gonna. As the owner of NorCal Sports Network, I will say, they've gotten older, but Kruk and Kuip are two of the best in the business. John Miller, Hall of Famer. All three of those guys are Hall of Famers. So,
John is suited for radio. He's great.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying it could be time for a change. And as I've said before, if you were to watch the games against the Mets, watch the way the Mets broadcast works and watch the way the Giants are. The Giants can't even hold the Mets jock.
WFAN in New York. See, that's the difference, though. That's the difference. And my big fear is, do you see they're starting to phase some guys in doing games when one or the other doesn't travel with the team? Don't sell me short on don't give me just an announcer. Give me the best announcers.
These guys all say that Chapman is a Hall of Famer. Murphy, Lusher, Greg Papa, and Flint. Come on.
Okay, that's it. It's in their contract, Dan. It's got to be in the contract.
You got to be. You got to be. It's got to be in your contract because Giants all of
baseball,
you,
nothing.
If
like
you think that, you do not know baseball. Come on.
NBR. There's nothing.
The dude's a 240 hitter lifetime. He's never had more than 80 RBIs, but one season out of 9. This will be I think this is his 9th season. He will not get 80 RBIs this year. He is a great third baseman, but you know what? Casey Schmidt be a great third baseman too. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not going to end up being a Hall of Famer just because a guy makes spectacular plays at position. Please. Oh my gosh.
Lou, is that outfit, is it just oozing money over there? Like, what's going on over at KMBR? Because
they're losing their ass. They're under that umbrella. Starts with an S that owns a lot of stations.
They're
under
who is it, Chat? Cumulus station.
It starts with an S.
Yeah, they're Cumulus.
Cumulus, yeah. The other thing is like Tolbert, who got released, he got 50% of his contract he was only making for him to stay. They've gotten cheap. Their big problem is their big profit they used to have with the Warriors. And as you know, the game outbid them. So they got, during the offseason, they have nobody that listens. They have the Niners, right? I mean,
don't the Giants have a little bit of ownership in KMBR?
They could.
The sounds of everything I'm hearing tonight.
Surprising. But yeah, so it's, and in fact, the person asked would be Larry. I mean, they said, Larry unfortunately had a little situation with KMBR, and now they begged him to come back because he's so good, because he's from the area, the old Giants thing. Hey, the guy lives in Fremont, so, we don't have to pay rent for him to come out. And, he's
on their sister station. I know a buddy of mine works at their sister station. 107.7 The Bone.
The Bone, yeah. And The Bone, now, this is the last 2 years.
They tried to get rid of him.
Yeah, is that starts with a T?
No, they got rid of it. It was the Lamont and Tonelli show.
Yeah.
So Lamont isn't his real name, but Lamont,
yeah,
they were getting rid of them both.
Yeah.
And they ended up
no more Bone Bash.
But Tonelli was gone. So now it's Lamont and Shasta in the morning.
Not the same. No more Bone Bash.
You won't get any criticism from me from the Giants announcers. Only Dave Fleming when he's with Hunter Pence on TV. That's the only time I get upset, is because they act very childish, and Hunter Pence, it's all on, I believe, Larry Bear, because he becomes this big homer. And then I hear him do the broadcast on Roku with Tom or another, was it Roku or no, it was Dave
Roku.
Fleming and Tom Candiotti. They were excellent. So Fleming was excellent.
YouTube TV, I think.
But then you put Pence on Apple TV and he's good. He's fine. But you put him on the Giants broadcast and it's like he puts the San Diego chicken outfit on and he's like,
that's the homerism.
It's just unlistenable. It's unbearable. Dave
Fleming, he's cut from the cloth to be a national. Like he's national. Saturday college football.
He's great.
Random teams, he's your guy.
He's good.
Or a baseball game, 2 random teams.
Yes, he's excellent.
If I've got to listen to that ball caught the plate, another bad call. He gets, and once he gets on a roll on calling out the umpires,
that's all part of the Giants. He doesn't do that, like you said, on a national game when the Giants are on. It's all his homerism coming out, and the Giants are pushing him to because they're so hard to watch at times that you got to have excuses built in. I'm with Aaron. I agree. I'd love to see Glenn Kuiper get back into the booth with from the A's. He was, an excellent broadcaster, and he may get another shot someday. Let's hope so.
I have a new super chat too.
Got a new super chat
from Rob.
Let me get to that.
I completely agree.
Hold on. Is it this one? It's a shame that Dan Ruzanowski isn't actually heard on the Bay Area radio. I wish the Sharks would be allowed some radio love. Yeah.
Hey, Dan Ruzanowski. I worked with Dan Ruzanowski.
Really
when I was the voice of the Fredericton Canadians or the Oilers? When I was the voice of the Canadians, Dan Ruzanowski, he was the voice of the he was in the minor leagues for.
Oh, with New Haven?
Yeah.
New Haven team? in Connecticut.
And I used to laugh. I used to make fun of him on my calls. If you've heard, you know who Dan Rusanowski is? Dan Rusanowski, Sharks hockey. Oh, what a voice!
Yeah, he's good.
But he made the
And
NHL, dude. He made it all the way. So good on him.
Him and the main guy for the Sharks. That he does. There's Dan, and then Dan does the radio.
Yeah, he does radio.
And then the TV guy is really good too. The Sharks, they got really good announcers.
You remember the old California Golden Seals when they used to play at the Oakland Arena, Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Arena or whatever?
Randy Hahn. Thank you, Randy Hahn's really good.
Yes,
yeah.
Their announcer
is for the Cal Bears.
California Golden Seals announcer was Joe Starkey.
Joe Starkey of the California Bears.
And you know who else?
And
I've got Dan. I'll send you some clips. I've got all kinds of hockey clips in my archives. I got a lot of Golden Seals clips.
Ooh,
Johnny Miller.
Johnny Miller, who did the Kings, right?
He was the voice of the Golden Seals one year.
Yeah, who was the Kings guy? Was it Johnny Miller that became the Kings announcer, or what's his name? The LA Kings. I used to listen to him at night as a kid. He was really good too. You know who I'm talking about? LA Kings. Bob Miller. Thank you, Rob. Bob Miller. I knew it was Miller. Bob Miller. He was great. He was a great announcer.
Did he do the radio games, you say?
Yeah, he did radio.
Did he do it with Jim Fox?
I don't remember. All I remember is the goalie was Rogi Vachon for the Kings at the time. And I used to listen to the Dodgers and the Kings games because they KFYI, I think it was KFI radio. I think it's like 640 or something like that. I can't remember. It's been years in LA. You would get the signal at nighttime in the Bay Area. You know, it was one of those 50,000 watt stations.
Says he partnered with a guy named Jim Fox.
Yeah.
On Fox Sports West Prime.
But Dan, you and I have just randomly touched on it. But when you were a kid, and I told you that's how I played hockey, but I always had radio in me. Dude, you can't give me a microphone and, warm up the crowd. I'm ready to go. It's like, it's comedy night. I love having the microphone. I love talking, especially sports and music, that kind of thing. And what I do for a living, I'm blessed. But when I was a kid, and I want to know where you were growing up, if it was the same on the East Coast. So I grew up on the East Coast, and at night, dude, it was a gold mine of AM radio. I'd pick up 2 stations all day, but then when the sun went down, you'd get WJR Detroit, WFAN New York, and WABC. You could almost pick up half of the United States on the radio in Canada. It was awesome. And you got to pick up but the only thing about, and you can attest to this if it's true, the problem with our feeds on the East Coast at night was I don't know how the ionosphere works, but you would hear the game like it was a local broadcast. Down the right side, cutting in toward the net, and then all of a sudden it would fade out.
Yes, it fades out. You're like, what happened?
Fade back in.
Yeah, you
lose the game for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden, and he's coming back, and he's behind the net. He comes, and it would be right where.
Oh yeah, exactly. It was how the signal would bounce off the sky, or I don't know how it did it, but people in the chat give me a hard time for giving, like, I listen to as I'm a Dodger fan because I listen to the Dodger games. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a Dodger. I listen to the Dodger games because they were battling the Giants at times in some of those seasons, and I wanted to hear the game live. We didn't have ESPN or Twitter or any kind of digital format. The only way you could find out what was going on is if you were listening to the Giants game and they would give you what's happening, or you were listening to the Dodger station and you could hear it yourself.
Or you got it where you could find it, dude.
Yeah. It was great. I loved when I lived in Southern California, and at times, and I was there in the 82 through 95. So I was in Southern California, but it was the 83 season, I think it was. I think it was 83. Giants came down to the Giants, Braves, and Dodgers were all one game apart the last 3 games of the season. It might have been 82. Maybe it was 82. Yeah, it was the 82 season. But what was so wonderful is I'm working in LA, living down there in the area, and I'm listening to Vin Scully, and he's telling up in San Francisco, Jack Clark just hit a home run and the Giants have tied it up. And then he would be like, and then it's like, okay, they're in the 9th inning up in San Francisco, 1-1 count to, Reggie Smith or Joe Morgan. And because it was such a pennant race the last week of the season, Vin Scully is giving you play-by-play of the Giants games, and it was great.
2-1.
So, yeah. But Vinny's going, welcome to Dodger baseball. This is Vin Scully, and along with Ross Porter. I listened to him because I lived down there, and it was like, I just love baseball. So if I lived in another part of the country, I'm going to listen to that station. Yeah.
And Dan, you didn't so I used to spend the summers at Lake Tahoe, and you couldn't get KMBR. So first of all, you couldn't have a regular radio, but your car radio worked better than your transistor. But you had to get those ones that sort of had like 3 or 4 different types of channels, right? Like one might have been like, I don't even know what it was, but there was 4 different levels of channels. There was AM, FM, and then there's different types of Wi-Fi. And then if it was a clear night, you could hear the Dodger game, like 620 KTAR, and you could get KMBR. The problem is once you had the dial perfect on one and you go back to the other, you couldn't find either one. It wasn't, you would lose it. The other thing
we didn't have digital back then where let's just turn into 620. You're moving the
you had the little
sliding
thing.
Button.
And then I used to, for my car, because I was such a big Giant fan, I would drive the car because 680 wouldn't come on. And there was no 680 affiliate in Tahoe. So you would drive the car and all of a sudden you'd hit it and you would just pull over and listen because, you're now getting the live updates. Also people don't realize there was no ESPN. The news station on 15 and 45 would have the sports update, at 15 after the hour. And it would give you, hey, this is what's going on in baseball. Because there was no ESPN. There was no cable. It was just sort of how it was. Hey, and by the way, since we are on here, one of the things I do want to talk about, speaking of sports, losing the great Hulk Hogan. I wanted to commend Eric. I know he's on assignment, but I thought Eric did a great show because I know how close Eric was to Hulk Hogan. But, it's been a pretty rough week. We lost Chuck Mangione, Ozzy, Hulk Hogan, so you got to appreciate these guys because they were, wrestling wouldn't have been where it is now if it wasn't for Hulk. He really brought it to another level. Ozzy with rock and roll, especially with Glenn, where he'll tell you, hey, heavy metal was created by, Black Sabbath and, they, without them coming over, you never know. So I just wanted to commend them, give a little big thing. I mean, to me, favorite wasn't Hulkamania is when he went and he turned into the NWO. That's when wrestling got huge. And the one thing about Ozzy is, you got to give a lot of credit to Sharon because Sharon took him under his wing, and Ozzy became huge when he went solo with the great Randy Rhoads. And, I just wanted to commend that. And then, Chuck Mangione, he was one of the first guys that, never sang, but he had a big hit, with his playing. So, hey, whenever we lose the great ones, you're growing up, it was something to know. So,
I think in the 1980s, he had the highest charting Billboard instrumental.
Chuck, yeah. Yeah, it feels so good.
As you said, Sharon, she saved Ozzy. She swooped in. Yeah. Boy, he had his troubles, and she extended his life, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think it's ironic he died literally 5 days after that final concert, that he did in Birmingham. So, but he had Parkinson, all the money. He tried to do something good, and he also changed reality TV. I mean, who would think? Why would you want to have Ozzy on reality TV? But he was just himself. It was sort of a non-miss. So, Just I wanted to bring that up since we have a pretty good crew on the chat.
Hey,
so.
do you guys like these Giants hats? They wore
didn't
the
work
last
this
3
weekend.
games. Didn't work. Yeah. Aaron says Farmer John. I think he's talking about Vin Scully and Farmer John.
The Coles for Farmer John hot dogs. Weekend. Marvelously meaty wieners, a savory blend of beef and pork. Beef Franks, too, the beefiest, best ever. And for oversized appetites, these extra long wieners, dubbed Dodger Dog. Whichever you barbecue during the long holiday weekend, you'll enjoy the hot dogs with a heartier Western flavor. Yours only from Farmer John.
From Farmer
John.
John. I'm wearing the pink hat. You got on me the other night. I wear this on the 22nd.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that was for breast cancer. My fault.
On the 22nd of every month. I don't know why. It just became a thing. 22nd of every month. And on the radio, I promote everybody coming up on Tuesdays the 22nd. Make sure you wear your pink. And I just picked that as my day in support of really all cancer research. But
yeah, of course. And a lot of
Dan
guys
was
in the
giving me
chat.
gears, and I had to fire back at him. And I go, Dan!
Yeah, he's like, I thought it was a Valkyrie type thing.
Shut you right up.
I thought it was a Valkyrie.
Oh, I got my Valkyrie hat. Look at that.
Hey, Glenn, one thing too, guys. I know it's not as much as girls when you're 40, 50, but when you get older, if you're a guy, nothing wrong, get checked. One of my favorite artists of all time, Glenn probably doesn't know who he is because he probably doesn't like that rock and roll, Mr. Warren Zevon.
Of course, you got to get the prostate checked, man.
He had prostate. He also had breast cancer for a guy, So, hey, guys, we're all,
Lou.
Lou.
Lou always, you're getting as bad as Eric. Throw me under the bus. Glenn wouldn't know. Of course.
One of my favorites.
Werewolf of London, man.
My favorites, The Lawyers, Guns, and Money.
And Money.
One of the best from the album Excitable.
Robert Boyd in the house. Hey, good.
I think Lou and I should be doing an afternoon rock show somewhere.
There's
together.
a Sharks fan. Look at that. I think he's even got his Shark shirt on, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think if Lou and I did an afternoon rock show, we'd get higher ratings than KMBR. What do you think, Lou?
Yeah, I'm one
He's
of those
ready
guys.
for Sharks hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
49ers football. And
so you're doing a show tomorrow or Tuesday with Larry? That's what I saw in the chat.
Who is?
You are?
Me?
Yeah.
Not that I know
Oh,
of.
it said Larry and Dan doing some football talk. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, maybe they were saying get to do that. Start that up or something.
Are you getting into that already, Dan? I mean, geez, it's too early. They just had.
I'm not doing anything football. I won't get into football until I'll get into football when September rolls around. Because I'm not.
Glenn, Thursday night, the Hall of Fame game. Come on. I know you'd be in front of the tube, falling asleep.
Thursday, I'm at the National Sports Collectors Convention. We'll be doing we'll just have wrapped up. Eric and I will just have wrapped up our 12-hour trade deadline show. You can join us for that on Giant Sports Talk Live. And then Friday night, the Valkyries in the Chicago Sky. I'll be in town for that one. And then I'm back in town here in the Bay on Sunday.
All right.
And I'll be following the Canadian Football League. We got some big East-West matchups coming up next week.
Of course.
Somebody in the chat. Oh, who was it?
Cliff Martinez agrees with Robert about hockey. Cliff Martinez, also known as Bake That Dough Baseball Club.
Yeah, but Cliff Martinez came in. He said, "Long live those Saskatoon Rough Riders." Cliff, you're wrong. They're the Regina Rough Riders, better known as the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. They're in Regina, not Saskatoon.
Hold on. Be careful what you say on the air here. We don't want to.
That was Regina with an R, Dan.
Okay, with an R. Okay, I heard.
Yeah,
Regina.
I remember a couple of times when I was younger, I slipped into Regina. Saw some good football over there.
Okay, all right. I think
we're close to wrapping it up, boys.
I think we're really close.
Sounds good.
Really close to
11 o'clock.
Wrapping it up now. Yeah, it's.
All right, Dan. We'll be on tomorrow after the Giants Pittsburgh game, the usual.
Yes, that will be the Giants.
And Glenn, will you and Eric be on tomorrow? Will Glenn be back from his assignment?
You mean
Eric?
Eric?
Oh yeah, Eric and I'll be on tomorrow night after Pirate baseball. We'll be
Yeah.
having the post-game show. And you know what? I'll let you have the last say, Dan, but I speak on behalf of Eric, I believe. I look forward to Sunday nights. I like when the four of us, Lou, I really like bantering with you. Dan, you do a great job all week. I just think this is a great, I love the concept of this Sunday night thing. And then we can bounce different, I mean, I'm bouncing things with Eric all week. So you get fresh voices and faces and ideas in here, more people in the chat from both channels. And I love doing the Sunday night. I hope you do as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And hey,
Yes.
you know, we'll both be on tomorrow night. Giants are going to go for 4 in a row tomorrow night, and we'll see if they can get that job done tomorrow.
Yeah, probably.
Can the Giants keep up the streak? My goodness. You know what? At this point, I'm almost as excited just to see them lose so they would sell, because I'm just like, I want to see them pick a lane. I don't want to see them just like, okay, we're gonna bring in Mark Canha or AJ Pollock to add to this thing. Let's either go for it and make a big splash, and let's go get Joe Ryan, or let's go get you know, who's a star hitter out there that they might be able to pull from some team. You know, maybe they can pull a deal and get Yordan Alvarez, who's been out all year, but then you got him for next year or something. Maybe you pull something crazy out of the hat like that, or let's just get rid of everybody and let's start bringing in some young studs.
But don't let them soft soap you on the local media tomorrow. You got Mitch Keller, 4-10, the righty with a 3.53 ERA. They're going to be saying, oh, 4-10, he stinks. An easy night for Carson Whisenhunt. He'll be sporting jersey number 86. Of course, no record. He makes his debut tomorrow night. Keller, 4-10. Don't write off the Pirates, guys, tomorrow night. Dan, you might be on to something. The record, the streak, maybe alive tomorrow night.
Yep.
Over and under 7.5 strikeouts.
Yeah, the best part of Giants losing, no Giovanni in the chat. Yeah, where does Giovanni show up?
Homers.
Yep. All right, guys.
Well, I get to work with Eric Rothberg lately. He's all in.
Eric, if you're back from assignment and you're watching, your partner just called you Eric Rothberg.
I'm just agreeing with the chat. Everybody in our chat, they call him Eric Rothberg.
We miss you.
Yeah, I hope he's back tomorrow night with me. And I had a whole lot of fun. Dan, you want to take us home?
All right, let's get out of here, guys. We appreciate you being here with the Hot Corner. We're here every Sunday night, usually 8 o'clock. Tonight we went a little over because of the game went late, and Eric was on assignment and setting other stuff up. But we will be back on Giant Sports Talk Live. They'll be here tomorrow night after the game, and here on NorCal Sports Network, we will do the same. So thanks for watching the Hot Corner, and we will see you tomorrow night.